College campuses provide quite the picturesque scenes, and it's no different at Kutztown University. Here at KU, the scenery can be quite symbolic of the bold, the towering, the powerful, and the ferocious. It symbolizes the Golden Bears athletic program. Even for KU athletics, appearances mean a lot, usually when showing pride for the Golden Bears. Obviously, the most important visual is illustrated with what happens on the field. The athletes must hold up to perform well and look good doing it. Behind the scenes, there are many who give their all to provide the needed support to the athletes. In particular, the work of the KU equipment staff and KU Sports Medicine Services help the Golden Bears to be tidy, protected, and healthy for game day. And while the maroon and gold shine on game day after their own hard work with coaches and players, it cannot be done without the teams behind the teams. During this Friday afternoon, the first task to get done for the Kutztown Sports Medicine Services involves ice, and lots of it. Every canister and cooler must be marked, as a meticulous order must be completed to provide sufficient ice, water, and sports drink to both home and visiting teams. Once complete, the canisters and coolers are packed on a cart so they can be transported to a safe and cool area outside of Keystone Hall that will be available for the next day's game. On this rainy afternoon, the student workers pack the canisters and coolers into a cart to be sent to another hall. The following morning, on game day, the training room is packed by the late morning. Some of the student workers are already preparing their kits for the game and are making sure the itinerary is full. Meanwhile, some of the early treatment and pregame wraps already begins by the athletic training staff.
Game day for us is sort of anticlimactic to the whole week, but we start out generally coming in early. Brandon and I usually do a quick review of, before our students get here, of what we need and what we use during the week that's not maybe available to us. And then we get the students we get prepped for the students.
What?
Where's your elbow then?
He still tapes it though.
Because your briefs. You bleed out on the halfway through the season, aren't you?
I'll be famous for something.
He's got to beat somebody.
Good one.
He's so proud of himself.
8th time's the charm. That one stroke. I'll never be able to do that. Oh!
He's like, oh, man.
He's all excited.
Now you got the scissors.
I finally get the hang of it. He takes the scissors away from me. Because you don't need them. But I know. Because he has to cut the slots.
Usually it starts off slow. Those who have the greatest amount of time spent doing that come in early. And then by the time we get to about 11 o'clock, we sort of have a list of order of who needs to get taped at what time. And that generally runs for about 45 minutes to an hour. And we usually have about 6 or 7 student athletes come in every 15 minutes. So we're taping ankles first, and we're taping knees and wrists and elbows, and then we go to shoulders, and anything that we have to apply to them after they've gotten dressed usually is about 11:45.
Director of Sports Medicine Rennie Sacco gets involved wrapping injured areas for the football players in need. Meanwhile, faculty athletic trainer Brandon Note also helps out. In this scene, he wraps junior defensive back Cody Waltemeyer's shoulder to help it remain stabilized. The sports medicine staff will continue to tape up all the football players in need until the team heads out to the field for pregame. That is right around the corner. It's 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and understandably so, not much is bustling outside on the Kutztown campus. On a blustery and crisp early autumn morning in mid-October, the lone place of action this hour is in Keystone Hall. In those halls of the building lies the KU equipment staff office. After some work earlier in the week, the staff has already set some things up for what will be a long day preparing for the afternoon's football game.
Typical football game that starts at 1 o'clock. My staff is in here. We try to meet at 6 a.m. We go to Dunkin' Donuts and we get coffee and bagels and stuff to get us through for the day. Once we get back into the equipment room here, we try to get all that done in the 2.5 hours, including the sound system, the scoreboard, so that when 10 o'clock comes around, my time is dedicated to my student athletes.
And so the voyage begins for the day. The student workers grab a cart and head down to University Field to prep. At the field, the setup begins by heading to the flagpole on the far side of the field and putting up Old Glory. Next, Jason Bolton and Eric Ovcharski collect the goalpost pads, pylons, and football chain set and then cart them over to the field. The chains are then placed on the sideline. Now it's time to go over to the end zone to set up the pylons underneath the goalpost. Next, Jason puts the pads on the goalpost. After that task is complete, it's time to drive the cart to the corners of the end zone and put the pylons in place. Meanwhile, over at the Bear Cave, Jake Long sets up the area for the droves of fans that will eventually arrive on campus. Once those tasks are complete, Eric and Jason clear the field as they put away the field hockey cages in a row by the visiting bleachers. Finally, equipment manager Keith Radar McCarthy gathers the footballs. He and Long make sure each ball is sufficiently inflated and prepared for the day's usage. For now, their first part of the setup is complete. Game day. On a mid-October afternoon, the Golden Bears football team looks for their first win of the season. The excitement is brewing at Keystone Field, and the players arrive from the locker room to gear up and get ready for battle in a Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference battle. Like on any given Saturday, business for the KU football team begins before kickoff. Along with the painstaking game plans put together by the Golden Bears coaching staff, the players practice to perfect the execution of the plays. Even though there's less than an hour left before kickoff, KU gets in a few more reps to prepare for their foes. However, this isn't the only pregame activity at hand needed to get ready for the football game. For the Kutztown University equipment staff, they are finalizing their own game plan. In order for the football coaches to communicate during the game, these headphones must be in working order. That is the primary goal for this team behind the team. Here, Assistant Equipment Manager Scott Senna puts on the headphones to test the frequency and reception. As Senna checks the first pair, Equipment Manager Keith Radar McCarthy hands the student worker Bryce Perry more headphones to test. Then McCarthy confirms the headsets can connect with another by testing the walkie-talkies before making one final confirmation that the sets all work.
You hear Scotty? Alright, we're good. Lay him down.
Also of note, McCarthy makes a few final adjustments on the players' equipment in order to make the players as safe as possible. Now both teams are ready to go for kickoff. For this afternoon, the Kutztown University football team takes center stage at University Field. The Golden Bears look for their first win as they take on the Cheney Wolves. Certainly, there's a good amount of pageantry for this afternoon. The KU cheerleading squad is here to help pump up the crowd for the football players. Meanwhile, the University Marching Unit and Color Guard provide both the audio and visual backdrop for the spectacle. As the Golden Bears are in action, all eyes focus in on the tasks at hand for these warriors on the gridiron. But two other teams have their eyes trained on the field so they can do their job. Sports medicine services may get to enjoy the game, but they also must be prepared to spring into action. Meanwhile, the equipment staff can also enjoy the game, especially Manager Radar.
I have the best seat in the house every week for no matter what the sporting event is, from a football game to a baseball game to a basketball, field hockey, all those sports. I'm right there on the sidelines. I get to hear what the athletes are saying, what the coaches are saying, the refs are saying. You feel really part of it. You feel like you're part of that interaction right there.
Unfortunately, there were snags during the game, even for McCarthy's crew. He and electronic system technician Barry Peterson work on a malfunctioning microphone for one of the game officials. McCarthy decides to try a new microphone for the official and gets it from his equipment case. As for sports medicine, they go through the routine of taping and bandaging players as the game progresses. In the second half, there was not just a change in scenery. Suddenly the job got a lot busier for Rennie Sacco and crew. Golden Bears safety Drake Brumfield suffered a gash that required Sacco to decontaminate the area before applying a bandage.
I'm just getting a bandage?
That's all you need.
That's all you really can
I
get.
just didn't even put anything on it.
Well, we got to take care of it after. Yeah.
Later, two more Golden Bears suffered an injury. Both needed the athletic training crew to tend to them on the field, including one who was aided to the sidelines. Running back Darryl Scott needs immediate attention at the trainer's table to assess the damage. Sacco and Dr. Eugene Fellon check out Scott's quadriceps based on the impact he took from a tackle. As Sacco tests out the flexibility of Scott's quad, it doesn't look like he'll be returning to the game. However, it's not needed as the Golden Bears secure their first win of the season with a 35-19 final score. Although the football team can celebrate a hard-earned victory, there is still more work left for the teams behind the teams. Though the clouds began to fill the skies in Kutztown on this mid-October afternoon, the Golden Bears football team felt the pride after shining bright in a 35-19 win over Cheney. But elsewhere at University Field, some teams were still working. The pack-up is very quickly and efficiently done by the KU equipment staff student workers. They have already securely placed the radio equipment, so now they load the heavy-duty items into the cart to transport back to Keystone Hall. Back at Keystone, sports medicine begins to discover a potential diagnosis for Daryl Scott's quadriceps injury.
Sorry, his pads are too big.
Yeah,
He needs smaller pads.
need smaller pads. How tall are you? How tall are you?
5'8", 5'9". Have you ever had
You want me to
any
sign those out?
problems or anything?
Please.
What number are they?
And when you got hit, were you running with him? Were you standing up?
Yeah,
Okay, so you were standing, and then you got hit.
Check with us on Monday.
Meanwhile, quarterback Alec Warner is also in the training room to receive a checkup on his throwing arm from athletic trainer Brandon Nolt.
Sometimes you hit those and they can burst, and then you get this big ball, basically. And that's why when you see the classic, golf ball, softball, that someone looks like they have, usually that's not just strong.
The rest of the Golden Bears are done with their post-game talk and shower, so they hand over their game jerseys to the equipment staff and place them in the laundry bins. After all the players hand in the jerseys, creating a full bin of clothes, it's time to hit up the laundry room. Eric Ovcharsky puts in all the loads of laundry, beginning the loops for the rest of this Saturday afternoon. For now, the day is over for both teams. However, come Monday, there's a brand new set of things for these two teams behind the teams to accomplish. Radar makes his daily trek to the laundry room to handle the next loop.
The one thing that gets done every day here in the equipment room is the laundry. We do laundry every single day. It gets routine, a lot of the stuff we do with the laundry, but it's also fun though too. Getting ready for a sporting event, like right now we're at the time where football and volleyball and soccer are coming to an end, but basketball and wrestling are starting back up again. So having numerous seasons going on makes it an interesting time.
On this particular November Monday, new shoes arrive for the Kutztown men's and women's basketball teams. Radar arranges the shoe boxes neatly on the shelves so the players can later pick them up to use for the season. As for sports medicine, the Monday is just like any other day, one to help out the student athletes remain as fit and as healthy as possible, and of course, tape up and wrap any injuries. The hard work of these men and women make a vital difference in Kutztown University athletics as they protect and equip the student athletes while also making sure they are tended to when in need during the games. No matter what the scores are, Kutztown Athletics always provides winners on the field, thanks in part to the teams behind the teams.